Welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about how to take the calendar that you just created for 30 days and make two more just like it and really start to build a rolling 90-day calendar, all right? A rolling 90-day calendar. Now, what you have in the promotional planning sheet is kind of a guideline for the entire 12 months out of the year. You've made some projections and some reasonable expectations and in some cases some flat out guesses on the revenue that you expect to generate from these promotions. So we're going to take it from that single sheet of paper and really flesh it out 1 month at a time for 3 months. Now there's a reason why we stick to 90 days and it has to do with spacing, right? Offer spacing, campaign spacing, and promotional type spacing. And let me explain. So offers. If we run an offer here at the beginning of month 1, we don't want to run that exact offer again, exact offer, exact campaign for 60 to 90 days. So here we're talking not running it again until over here, right? If we run a specific campaign, right, an individual campaign, again, same offer, same campaign, we're talking definitively 90 days in between. Now, if you have a diverse product line, you're saying, yeah, great, no big deal. If you have 1 or 2 products, you may be getting a little concerned right now. And depending on your revenue goals in the promotional planning worksheet, it might be rightfully so. You may need to focus on how many different ways can I sell this particular product? How many different campaigns can I create to sell this thing without telling people on my list that I'm selling the same thing that I just tried to sell them? And that's totally doable. People do that all the time. And we'll talk about how to do that in the campaign creation section. Now, promotional spacing. So as we were talking about, not just the type of campaign, or the campaign category, whether it's an activation campaign or a segmentation campaign or a monetization campaign. But if you're going to go and run a flash sale, which is something we talked about in a previous video, if you're going to run a flash sale, right, you don't want to run a flash sale 2 consecutive weeks. In fact, you want to make sure that you're spacing a minimum of 15 days, and with something like a flash sale, may be more appropriate to go a full 30 days. Now, it doesn't even matter if the flash sale is for the same item or category. What you're doing here is you're creating these promotional calendars is you are training your subscriber base. You're training them to open and to click and to buy. We can train them positively or we can train them negatively. Sometimes, as email marketers, we want to take something that worked and do it over and over and over again. And that's not just as email marketers, it's not just as marketers, that's as human beings, right? If something works, if it worked once, then it's going to work again, and I should now only do that. It's somewhat human nature. But if you run nothing but flash sales, you become Groupon. Now, Groupon does not monetize their email list by sending a bunch of emails to you and adding value and segment based on your interest. They've gotten a lot better, right? A lot better since they launched. But really, their initial monetization came from advertising. So if you're not in advertising, if you're not selling, renting your email lists, and partnering with product producers and advertisers, then that's not a model you want to do. You don't want to train your buyers, train your subscribers to only buy from you if you're having a sale. So that's why offer spacing, campaign spacing, and promo type spacing are so important. So think about some of the categories that we had. We have a monetization campaign. If we ran a monetization campaign here, or actually, let's move that down. If we ran a monetization campaign week 3, we could run an activation campaign week 1, we could run a segmentation campaign week 2. So we've activated a ton of buyers in the first week here. Now we've segmented out by interest the second week. So the third week, anyone who wasn't segmented out by interest and was activated here, we're going to run a monetization campaign too, because we know those are our most recent active buyers, and there's a reasonable expectation that they'll spend more money with us. They just weren't interested in whatever we were talking about up here, at least not now, and that's okay, right? That's okay. That would be a great calendar. What we would not want to do if we have a wild card here is come back and do exactly that same calendar here or flip it. We wouldn't want to say, okay, so I'm going to start this one with a monetization campaign because you just ran one. So we want to do some spacing there, not only on campaign type, but offer type and promotional type to make sure that you're offering different types of engagement mechanisms to your list so that people can naturally engage and respond when it's the right time for them in their life, right? You're not the most important thing. That's something to keep in mind here. You should tell them when to be excited, but it has to be appropriate in their life. If you're showing them different types of campaigns, different types of promotions with different calls to action, then you're keeping them bouncing. Remember, you're keeping that movement going. And even if they don't purchase, they're engaged. And ultimately, the goal of your promotional calendar is to get people to move, to keep them engaged until the right time for them to buy and ascend and move down further and further in the customer journey. So this is how we're taking a 30-day promotional calendar, and now we're building that out, leveraging the promotional asset sheet, right? Or the promotional planning sheet, and your product and service catalog. So sitting down with those 2 items and this 1 sheet of paper printed out 3 times, you should be able to create a fantastic promotional calendar to help you achieve your goals. Now I'll tell you, we use a dry erase calendar. In every one of our businesses and every company that I consult with or talk to, I recommend they buy a massive dry erase calendar. There's no way we could fit this dry erase calendar into this screen with me. It's very big. It focuses on 3 months on top and then every month of the year down here. So what we do is when we go into our promotional planning, our strategic planning, usually in October, and we fill out the promotional planning worksheet, I'm going to take that and write it down here. Then I'm going to start building my calendars, January, February, March. When January is done, April replaces that. Each week is a dry erase. Why? Because I have a reasonable expectation or goal for that week. If it misses, not only do I need to potentially adjust and move to my backup promotion here, I may need to adjust the secondary promotion to see or to enable me to hit my overarching monthly goals. Now, that's a decision you have to make based on where you miss. This is how you get the ultimate view of your promotional calendar. Now, you can do this with Google Documents, but we have this promotional calendar and a seating area in front of it. And it's where most of the executives and marketing directors spend their time because it is that important for moving a customer from one stage to the next of the customer journey. So before we go on, I want to talk a little bit about content because we've just really gone through some potentially heavy promotional planning. And some of you could be saying, whoa, wait a second. We just talked about sending promotions to our email list here and here and here and here. In fact, to some of you, this is the scariest image you've ever seen because asking for money or promoting, it may seem weird or unnatural. Now, I'll tell you first, it shouldn't. Second, this is not in lieu of content. All right, this is not in lieu of content. I firmly believe if you're going to continue to ask people for money, that you need to also provide free, ungated content. So I can't tell you what type of content you should be producing, what form it should be in, or how you should distribute it. I can tell you that Russ Henneberry, our director of content and our editorial director, can. He's made a fantastic mastery course and certification all around content marketing. I would urge you to go through it, but I will tell you, everyone on your list should be getting some form of ungated, free, valuable content at least once a week, in addition to the promotions. If they're not, you're pulling from the relational equity account and you're not making any deposits. All right, you're not making any deposits, and they know that every time you send them an email, it's to ask them to do something to give you money. Now think about that. I said something earlier that I want you to think about now. You should treat your email interactions like your actual real life interactions, because even though the person reading the email may be on the other side of the world and they're behind a screen, they're actually a real person. So I'm a real person and you're a real person. If we know each other, even if we don't know each other all that well, and every time you see me on the street or walking down the hall at work, I walk up to you and I ask you for $1. You're eventually going to start avoiding me because it's awkward, because I haven't added any value to your life. right? I'm only taking. If that's your email marketing strategy, if that's the relationship that you're fostering with your subscriber base, the same thing's going to happen. It's going to start to be awkward. They're going to start to open your emails less. They're going to eventually delete your emails before they're even reading them. Finally, they're going to unsubscribe, or maybe just out of spite one day, you hit them at the wrong time, and instead of hitting unsubscribe, they mark it as spam. All this could have been avoided by simply sending some valuable content to your list. So at least once a month, at least once a week, every week, you need to be sending valuable, ungated content to your subscribers in addition to your promo. That's how you'll keep a fresh, engaged email list. That's how you'll keep getting your emails in the inbox, and that's how you'll make as much money as possible and hit your goals by leveraging your email list. Now, in the next video, we're going to dive into some pretty heavy stuff and start to cover email campaign creation. We'll go over all the different types, and I'll start to break down some examples of successful email campaigns of ours and of other traditional larger brands. So I'm very excited to get started. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.